food, 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 food. And it's really creepy at like 6:30 in the morning if you're not expecting it.
Is it in your voice? Tell me it's in your
Of
voice.
course it's in my voice.
That's awesome.
Of course.
Oh boy.
And
I'll bet that freaks out, any pet sitters while you're gone.
it my in-laws were not happy when they discovered that when they were staying over. Because they were like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, it's the cat feeder. Does it have to have a sound on it? Well, no, but
Food,
that's what's
food,
there.
food. That's just
Yeah.
wrong. Hey Matt,
Oh,
hey Tim.
you could do it in the Sean Connery voice. Food? Anybody ready for food?
Nope. No.
JR wasn't here today.
No, he was not.
Interesting. Oh, we're live, right?
Mm-hmm. I saw it go live when I started talking about food.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
He did that on purpose, right?
Of course he did.
Matt says, I wonder are AIs any good at writing jokes? Okay, so there's an episode of hey, hi Sue. There's an episode of a podcast called Distractable. And I have to look up the episode, but they actually went on there because it was the funniest joke in the world. There was a big ow. It was oh god, that was just cold. They actually played with AI generators, joke generators, as well as this story generator thing that was some scary shit that you give it a prompt and it goes crazy. And one of them was just fucking creepy. What it was spitting out was really creepy.
Creepy story or creepy good or
Creepy.
accurate or
It actually made you want to know what happened next.
okay.
Seriously, I read it. Markiplier narrated it, and it was only like maybe 300 words, 250 words. But you're just like, what the fuck? That's just creepy. What the hell? It was asking serious questions about life. You're like, why is this happening? We just wanted to give it something stupid to do, and it spat this
So
out.
so you're saying that the AI is data mining about the human experience.
I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Yes, I think that, I try and cover that in Derelict about the fact that if we were going to bring around sentience, because we're what we are, and we're only known by our experiences, what would we train those life forms on, if not our entire history, if not our entire filmography, our discographies, our tomes of literature? Why wouldn't we put all that together for them to use as a basis for their thought patterns, for their ethos, for all of that? Why wouldn't we do that? It would be the most logical thing to do.
On the flip side, that means that somewhere at some point, someone's going to train an AI using 90s boy bands and 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes. You see, here's the problem. You think that hasn't already happened. That's the problem. You think that already hasn't happened.
I picked up a cookbook kind of as a half gag, half wanting to see whether or not it had any decent recipes in it, called 50 Shades of Chicken.
That's awesome. Tim says, so at what point do we just hail the new flesh? Had kind of a conversation about this on that podcast too. We'll get to that in a second. Matt says, why wouldn't we do that? Why would we do that? Have you seen the news?
Oh, yeah, I've seen plenty of news, and you're right, it might be an improvement.
Might be.
Hey, maybe we could get that chat AI to go ahead and write the news.
I'm not saying a fucking word. So Tim, if you're saying, when do we just start moving to cybernetics? Is that basically what you're referencing? By the new flesh? Which, incidentally, if you haven't seen it and you have a stomach, I kind of recommend Crimes of the Future. It has a lot of really interesting. It asks a lot of interesting questions about art and limits. and was quite fascinating.
Hmm.
Oh, you might as well get oh, you don't mean cybernetics. Okay. I gotcha.
We have Sue in now, and I wonder if she missed notification that we had the actual live show an hour ago. Maybe you need to send out for the live show, Paul, the link to the live show and the other to the patrons, because I'm wondering if it didn't quite get out.
In all honesty, folks, if you want to make sure you don't ever miss an episode when we go live, just subscribe to YouTube. It's easier for
Probably.
everybody. It's just
This is a new
easier for
process for us.
everybody.
We're still trying to figure out how this works.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, honestly, obviously the Patreon shows are unlisted, so you can't find those by subscribing. But if you're already a member, if you want to be in on all the live shows, but yeah, we have kind of changed the format, so this
is going to be the format going forward. It's going to be at our regular 3 p.m. Central. We're going to have roughly an hour of public live show, and then we're going to come here for the after show,
where we ask you questions and you ask us questions,
or we talk about other things that we didn't get around to in the real show, like the author, I think it was a romance author.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
That
yeah. God,
faked her own suicide because she was tired of social media and now is coming back.
I mean, let's.
First and foremost,
there are some things you do not joke about or use as an advertising or PR ploy, and that is right at the top of the list. Because holy shit, what?
I've known people that have taken their own lives, and suicide is a very serious, very bad thing. And just faking your own death because you're tired of social media, if that is indeed what really is the case, I'm finding a hard place seeing any justification at all.
Yeah.
Well, if you read a little deeper than that, her story is that her family, because she was suicidal, made the decision to kill her off on social media. That's what she says. I call bullshit on 99% of what I saw, but you know what? I don't know anything about the woman. I don't know anything about this. All I know is there were a lot of people who gave to her family for medical expenses and all this other kind of stuff, and there was a charity thing done for her in her name.
Charity Anthology, I believe.
So all that stuff was done in her memory, and it was all bullshit.
Yeah.
And the family said nothing. They pocketed the money.
And then, sock puppet accounts essentially going up. And so was she the person behind those, new people showing up to, when sales started to drift off, saying, oh, by the way, we're still here and here's the anthology, or, oh, we just found a new book here.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There are so many things wrong. So many things wrong with that.
It was very disturbing, and it makes you wonder just how many, other instances there are where people have done that kind of stuff. I don't want to get on some kind of conspiracy theory kick at all about anybody, but this is obviously one where it's like, none of this makes any sense. None of this makes any fucking sense.
None of us can really understand what really went on. We're interpreting what we're seeing in news reports and other people saying on social media. We may have it all wrong. Maybe there's something to this story that we don't know, but it sure doesn't look good. The optics are not good.
It doesn't. And her best friend was felt completely stabbed in the back. So, I mean, this is like, she fucked over everybody. I don't know how they kept this quiet as long as they did. I really don't. They must have had her living in an attic.
Well, if all of your business contacts are
virtual,
if they're virtual, if you never see them in real life, then it's not that hard to cut everything, off. But it's abhorrent.
Yeah, Chuck says that's weird and probably actionable. I agree, it's actionable.
Oh yeah.
There's been monetary damages to some people because of the charitable giving, and there are probably going to be consequences for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just wait till the IRS comes after you. You've been dead, right?
You know, the IRS is kind of weird. This is probably too much personal
Kinda?
information, but I'm gonna share this anyway. Because of earnings that I had, we're still paying off some back taxes on some of the earnings from previous years, and we sent them a check before the end of the year, and they sent it back. And we're like, all right, that's odd. So the wife calls them up and goes, all right, why did you send the money back? And they're like, I can't see anything in your stuff that is a reason why it would have been sent back. It has to be something with our systems that tax law changes going in over the year. I've made a note in your account. If they ask for the money again, show them that you did try to pay it and send it again. I'm like, okay. I don't like it when the IRS does weird things.
Nobody
No.
should like that. Or when the gas company suddenly says, "Oh, we owe you such and such credit," and you're like, it's kind of like when Amazon's Audible ACX sends me a update.
Oh, that they've had to readjust.
An account correction.
God.
And I sit there and I think, okay, you fuckers, how much are you not catching?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I'm a good object lesson for is success can have a negative consequence. When I got successful, doubled in income in 1 year, I'm still paying on that tax bill because I didn't pay enough in advance because I didn't realize I was going to be successful. So yeah, there is consequences to that tax wise.
Chuck, are you making a restaurant at the end of the universe reference? Please tell me. Please tell me you are. Please tell me you are. I will love you forever if that's the case. That would be awesome. Another of my tribe.
Is that a 70s Doctor Who scarf? No, it is not. It is probably just going to be like a scrap blanket to use up a bunch of yarn because I do not idle well, so I have to do something with my hands. This way I can look and talk to people.
Back in the 80s.
What?
Sorry. I thought I was jumping in, but you weren't done yet.
Yeah, so it's going to be like a little bit probably about a twin size bed blanket when I'm done because I've got a bunch of spare yarn and more spare yarn behind me, and I finished that already. So
back in the 80s, I knew a guy that dressed up as the whole Doctor Who thing. And scarf and everything, the hat, the scarf, the whole 9 yards.
Full Tom Baker.
It was very interesting right up until the point that he and his convertible tried to kill himself because he threw the thing over his shoulder. It went behind the back wheel and he stomped the gas and about dragged himself out of the car.
It's awful.
It was awful. Shit. He survived. He was uninjured except for a rash, but watch what you're hanging out the car that's wrapped around your neck.
Holy crap.
Good thing my younger son, he was way into Doctor Who cosplay when he was younger, to the point where we would, like for his birthday, we'd dress up, and that was when we had Disney passes, and we would go to Epcot. And I had pictures, and one of the folks that we met at 20 Books Vegas writes for Doctor Who properties, and his name's Tony Lee. Lovely gentleman. We had a lovely conversation over cinnamon rolls that were as big as your face one morning for breakfast. And we were showing pictures, and he's showing me pictures of all the different Doctor Who jackets and different cosplay. And I showed him a picture of my son. He's like, "Oh, you need to send me a picture. I need to show Matt that." I'm like, Matt Smith? You're going to show Matt Smith?
No, Matt Baker.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to see him this week." I'm like, "I will do that, and I will be the coolest mom for like 15 minutes. And I sent him the picture as well as another one where I had child dressed as the 10th doctor and then another 11th doctor picture with his sister as Amy Pond because I'm that mom. And he emailed me back. It's like, oh, Matt loved the pictures. I'm like, yes. So my tiny bit of cool momness, I'll never have it again.
Yeah, you shouldn't have blown it all in one place. That was just a really bad idea. What were you thinking?
I don't know. But yeah, that's with what Tim's saying.
Tim
I
says
know.
that the situation kind of success scares me. I'm reading it for the people that are only listening to the audio. How would you tell early on to save enough money to prevent that happening again? And the answer is, as you get money, pay the IRS. That's the only real way that you can keep ahead of success.
Every quarter, throw them 40% and just be done with it.
And the fact that I didn't catch on to that early on is the reason why we finally paid off 2020 and we're still working on 2021. 2022, we're good. We think we're good. But you get behind the curve on that, and it's very hard to play catch up. So as you get money, pay money.
Yes. Like when it's one of those things that I've started to have to do because yay, success and yay, success. But every time those checks come in, divert a percentage. This is for taxes.
Yep.
And then
You can send it right to them EFT, I believe, these days. You can just send them money and be done with it. And that's what my wife has been doing now that we've caught up. But
What do you need?
2019 to 2020 was a big jump in income for me, and I'm still playing catch up from success. They do take payment plans, so it's not awful.
They do. And I know for us, it's situations always change depending upon who's in your household. I mean, for the next 5 years, for the next 5 years, I'm going to have, let's see, next year I'll have 2 kids in college and 1 in high school. And then for a while there, I'll only have 1 in college, but then I'll have another child. Will she be in? Yes. So yeah, I'll have 2 in college. And that, for financial aid for kids and all this, it's a mess. And you don't want to wait till the end of the year to deal with it. Ever.
Yeah, those are the worst times when if you get a huge honking check in December, that can really mess someone up.
Yep.
That's actually a problem that I've heard traditional publishers talking about, traditional authors that are traditionally published, getting a big royalty check that they did not expect. They thought, it'll be next year, I'll get that money. And then it arrives like December 28th.
Which is weird because most of the time, like for TradPub, I know with the contracts that I have, I get paid, for any royalties, I get paid in January and I get paid in June. So nothing, if anything is going to hit in December, it's going to be for work that I did at the very beginning of the month, or maybe something paying out 30 days at the end of November. But yeah, it's all the money is great until it's not.
Yeah, pretty much.
Government wants their share of your money.
Yep, they always do. They always do. Yeah, you just sock it away, man. I say that. I know I should do it, but unfortunately, I got to pay bills too. So I get fucked one way or the other.
It's rough when you have things that you need to use the money on. It's rough when you've got the choice: pay the IRS or do the repair that you have to do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm fucked coming and going on that. Tim says, full disclosure, my Kindle Vella bonuses blew my previous bigger indie royalties out of the water this year. That's so fucked
I'm still
up.
getting Kindle Vella bonuses. I haven't published a new episode in something like a year and something.
Oh, Tim says, but I'm poor. It got
thing.
that fast. Yeah. It is. There needs to be, fuck. I can't even get on that. It'll just take us into hell. Don't need to do that. Anyway, is there anything you guys want to talk about?
We are at your disposal.
Yeah. He is indeed.
Ask any embarrassing question about Paul. We will all be happy to answer.
Even if it's not true.
Oh no, we'll make sure that.
1,000 plus Kindle Vella episodes last year? Holy shit.
What genres?
Wow. That's impressive and insane. Under pseudonyms. Oh my God.
Matt also asked, am I doing anything with my Vela Gamelet story right now? I'm not. It's about 3/4 of a novel, and I know that I could finish it off, but my publishing schedule has been too hectic with the other series that I'm working on, and I just don't have the time. Eventually, one day.
One day. Yes, one day. I'd like to get back to it one day. Is that the reason why they're not, that why no one reads them, or
Grammarly. That's a very minimal editor.
True.
Oh, so using Scrivener for Gravity's Bane, because that's where it was outlined in. And after I sent the book to my dad to be alpha read, I looked at it and I went to a chapter and I saw a misspelled word and I went, "Oh fuck, I never ran spell check." Oh my God. So guess what I got back? Oh, it was brutal. Because I
Wow.
turned off that shit because it colors the words and I don't want to be colored. I'm trying to type. I'm trying to hear myself think. I don't want to see that shit. So I have it turned off. So therefore it never runs spell check. So I need to look and see if there really needs to be like a, do I test this before I compile it into an executable? And if it fails the test, we tell you it fails. It'd be kind of nice if you could set a threshold and say, hey, if you find more than 30 spelling errors, just bail. Something's wrong. Bail.
Here's what you need to do when you're writing this for yourself. Make the first line in the first chapter say, did not run spell check. And then once you've gone through the book and did spell check, take it out. In fact, you should misspell spell check so that it stands out for you.
I misspell my own name, but that's not on purpose. Anyway, I had spell check waves. Yes. And grammar ones are even better. I'm writing a fragment of dialogue and the browser's trying to tell me that's an incomplete sentence. I'm like, fuck you. Yes,
Now,
it's an incomplete
I'll
sentence.
be honest. When I'm using Grammarly, I pay attention to the spelling part every single little bit. And the other portions mostly don't get implemented. Oh, you should use this word. No, I don't. I think I'll use this other word that I'm using already. I'll pay it's split up into different tabs, and you can say, I want to pay attention to the wrong word usage, the real wrong word, like I've done a homophone, or it's a spelling check. And then you can ignore the rest if you choose.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have these issues because when you're collaboratively writing, you've got somebody else's eyes, and if you're not writing, they are going in and correcting. And if they're writing, you're going back and correcting.
Yeah, that's just cheating. That really
is not
just
cheating.
cheating. That is complete and total cheating. That's what that is.
It is not cheating.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that, Sue.
But no, like so with the two, so the one, I can say this isn't the patron show. So the one story that I'm working on currently with one of my co-authors, we've written the first three chapters. We have the outline, and she sent it to her editor. So it's being shopped TradPub, mostly because I don't want to deal with the taxes of having to do indie publishing and figuring out how much she gets paid, how much I get paid, how much to do with royalties. I don't have an LLC. It's not my job. I don't want another, slapdash profession. So I will go the TradPub route to avoid all of that. And I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a one-off. I don't think it could be a series. But I sit down and write with her for one evening a week. And in one evening, in about 90 minutes of the two of us writing back and forth, we can get anywhere from 1,400 to 1,800 words written.
Okay.
And depending upon who's writing, that's just me going through, and she's just kind of hovering and maybe going back and filling in details. Or if I pause, she's like, "Are you stuck?" "No, I needed to get coffee." "Okay, keep going," and filling in there. But it's nice because as you go through, someone is playing editor and fixing things.
I should add for poor Sue, who is cry laughing an editor over there, that Grammarly is the last step that I run before I send it to a human editor. So it's not like I'm relying on it. It's just I dictate, in Dragon. And so it puts wrong words in there on occasion. And I don't catch them all. And so I'll catch more of them with Grammarly telling me, "Oh, you've used the wrong version of there in there." So things like that is what it catches a lot of. And I fix it up before it goes to a human editor because I don't want to give them my drivel. I want it to make it as clean as I can make it before they get a chance to do their work.
But you used the right version of there when it came out of your mouth.
Yeah, why can't this program just tell what I meant?
I know.
There, or there. I just said the same word 3 times in Texan. Or excuse me, 3 different words the same way in Texan.
There. And don't forget, there's 4 versions. There's there, and there. Don't forget that 4th one.
I was mentioning there. There's there, and there's there, and then there's there.
And then there's there with the apostrophe RE. You got to look at it.
Oh, God. Just so bad. What is this? Like this little Java app my brother made me to practice his coding. It processes and displays each sentence of a text file one at a time. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically a debugger.
It's a what bugger?
Debugger. As in to get done with the debugs.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like writing code. You should always test it like the next tester is an axe-wielding psychopath. Yes, that is correct.
You mean they're not?
Well, basically what it means is you want to follow the Boy Scout directive of try and make the place better than when you left. Because if everybody practiced that in software testing and software development, the world would be such a much better place.
Okay, fair enough. Because yeah. Yeah, I get that. Because
the world would be a much better place, and there'd be fewer people that look like me.
Are you saying you are a direct? Your presence, your existence, there's some responsibility on these programmers?
I would say my flawed and drawn and lined countenance is a testament to the fact that is not how life is practiced in my industry. That's all I will say on that subject. So there you go.
Competent coding is not the norm.
No, it is not. Yeah, Sue says, pretty sure that holds true in most things. Yeah, unfortunately, if there are people involved. Because people suck, as Sue likes to say. She also says she hates people. And she's here with us. I have no idea how any of that works.
You say you hate people as well, and yet the two of you are great friends.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty good friends with you two as well. So, and I have some other friends too. I never really said I hate people. I like people. I hate a lot of what they do. I hate a lot of how stupid they fucking are and how easily manipulated they are. But without people, we'd have no music or literature. He's not people. Oh, ow. He's a Paul. Yeah, I'm on my own classification, whatever that is. So I think that's how all that works. Y'all aren't people.
Negative, I am a meat popsicle.
Yeah. Software testing, what is that? Best practices for this system I'm working on right now is to build it in prod. Yeah, there you go. I have that shirt. I don't always test my code, but when I do, it's in production. Or is there a mantra at Bubble Up where it was actually fucking true? Well, Sue, you're a friend of all three of us.
I've seen, that particular statement in an interesting format where it had scientists on one side. It finally worked. Great. Let's figure out why it did that. And then you've got software production. It finally worked. Now don't touch anything.
Put it in production.
Ever again.
My favorite was there was a line in BroadSoft, a line of code that said, "Don't remove this. We don't know why, but everything breaks." So one of the developers, of course, said, I'm going to go figure out what this is all about. So they basically crashed their personal system completely, blew it up, tried to follow debug and everything else. The error was nested so far down somewhere in some library that was no longer being maintained or available, that was providing some kind of core functionality, that if you took it out, everything crashed and it hid the error. So you couldn't find where the error was. It was like the ultimate Pandora's box. The moment you opened that line of code, it just blew everything up. And I was like, man, that takes genius. That is genius right there. How do you fuck things up so bad that one line of code takes out the entire system? Yeah, Sue,
I don't know, but I've heard the ramifications of this with lots of swearing and cursing from the other office.
Your hubby is in the know, so you're in the know.
Yes. When your company's product is software and you've had turnover and your previous team.
See earlier comment about leaving the world a better place.
Oh my gosh. I have nodded and smiled at plenty of, I gotta go fix this. Okay. It's like midnight. I know.
Been there, done that many, many, many freaking nights.
Yep. That my favorite was when I came home from the hospital with my daughter and I got situated on the couch and I was all set. It's like, yeah, I'm comfortable. It's like, okay, I gotta go to the data center. So I'm sacked out on the couch with a newborn. Luckily, the two older kids are at the in-laws. He was like, yeah, I'll be back. All right, where's the phone? Next to you. Okay, I hope I don't have to get up soon.
2 days later.
No, 4 a.m., but when when there is newborn in lap, time is a construct that you just don't really pay attention to. It's like,
it doesn't really exist.
No.
It's the thing.
No, so. But yeah.
Chuck says,
sorry, I was trying to click the same one.
A worker is working from their hospital room and has been for several weeks now. Jesus, that's fucked up.
I want to say that's illegal, but.
Wow. God.
Yeah.
Better not count as sick time then.
Oh, shit. Matt says, yeah, covering 3 time zones, Taiwan, UK, and US. I lasted 3 years and changed jobs. I wouldn't have lasted 6 months doing that shit. I was on call 24/7 for years. I'm never doing it again. Fuck that. I'm too old for that shit.
When I started working for NASA, it was shift work. But it wasn't shift work you could ever adjust to, because 1 month you'd be working first shift, the next month second, the next one third. So by the time you adjusted to anything, it was time to change again.
Oh my God. How did you not all have psychotic episodes?
There were plenty of people that had some issues.
Oh my God.
Salaried, she's not being coerced. Okay.
We're salaried and she's not being coerced. Fuck. I don't care. That's just wrong. That just means it's going to set back recovery significantly. Oh, people are stupid. See earlier comments. Oh my God. It's so wrong. Anyway, silly people. I got a graphic together that see if I can find it. I doubt I can. I was looking at graphics for possible. What am I trying to say? Possible cover graphics for an ancient trap.
Ooh.
And now I can't find the goddamn. Shit, man. I hate my life sometimes.
You hit it so well.
I did. There it is.
Darn that organization.
There it is. There it is. Okay, private chat. Bing, bang, boom. Present.
That's pretty.
Screen.
Ooh,
Screen two.
shiny.
All right.
You're gonna have to share it in the Discord until they're not going to be able to see it. None of the patrons can see private chat. There you go.
No, but they
now
can
we can
see
it.
this. So I was thinking of using this for the as the background if I'm going to do something like that. If I'm going to do Ancient Trap. If I'm going to find somebody to do the cover art or do it myself, God help me out. Or just get somebody to do the lettering for me and the font and all that crap. Does it have green lights? So anyway, I thought that would be a good one. For those of you that are reading Ancient Trap, reading, listening, whatever, if any of you are, we just got to a point where this would kind of sort of make sense. So, but yeah. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about doing because it just kind of caught my eye. I was looking for stuff to use for PR marketing or for the YouTube when I put it out there. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm still all fucked up. I don't know what to do regarding that stuff. Stop sharing. Okay, there we go. All right, well, all good? You guys can't see nothing anymore? We're all good. All right.
You're okay.
I really should have had that ready. It just kind of popped into my head. Color swap the red for green. I could run it through a filter pretty easily. Oh yeah, Matt, I forgot. Matt's seen it. Anyway, I'm still thinking what I want to do with this book. I don't know what to do.
Sue says we should go back to being side by side. I'm not sure. It makes us little, doesn't it?
I have to change where my camera is.
That's it. I got to scooch over a bit.
Fuck! Don't do that shit.
Well then.
Yeah. Is this less confusing? More confusing? Now you just can see my ugly face even more up close. That's how that is. At least Veronica looks like she's got, a filter on or something. She looks
That's
cool.
called
Cat does not have a filter.
No, that's called 5 minutes before going, oh shit, I gotta be on camera. Where's the makeup? And running into the bathroom, throwing on Zoom makeup, and then going, I need to put stuff in the foodie for dinner. Yeah.
Ancient Trap is not my current work in progress. Ancient Trap is finished for all intents and purposes, except that it needs to be beta read by a couple of people, and that's it. And I got some other work to do. Less room for Terry's cats. This is true. Without the subliminal message. Well, now wait a minute. She was third chair. She's third chair. Okay.
I'm not sure how that. I think the program selects that.
Yes, the program
It was the order in which we came into this particular chat, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
IK always come in first. Terry comes in second, and then V on third, and it just automatically sorts them.
Hey, I don't mind being the bottom. I'm all right with that.
What I'm saying is you're reading into something that's not readable because there was no intent there, subliminal or otherwise. The goddamn machine did it. But okay, fine. Point taken.
I am not the voice of reason.
I
have you all fooled. I am not the voice of reason.
Oh God. So what I'm working on right now is Gravity's Bane, which is the second leg. What's the 3 books take place after Derelict, with the same characters, a couple months after Trident ends.
Keep talking. I'm experimenting.
Okay. Well, that sounds dangerous. So that's what I'm working on now, and it's going swimmingly wonderfully, and I'm very, very happy with what's happening. So Ancient Trap is just waiting to figure out if I'm going to submit it or publish it myself. So that basically was what it comes down to.
I can't get it to. There we go. Now I found it. I figured out how to do it. There, I will be the bottom. How about that?
Is that better?
Because I don't like the narrow picture. I don't like the narrow picture at all. But I don't mind being the guy on the bottom. I'm all right with that.
No, although I realized I'm going to have to get some better light in here, as clearly the sun has gone down over here, and if I try to turn the light above me, it's a little glary. So
Matt says, although I like that Terry is now just Terry down and dirty, no mixing on the end. Yeah.
I could fix this.
Oh, no worries, Tim. Anyway, I've got that to do, and then I got to finish recording it for the patrons, BMAC and Ko-Fi folk. And then I think I'm going to have an audiobook ready. God help me.
yay!
Oh, fuck. Didn't I say I wasn't going to do this shit again?
I don't know.
There you go, Matt. I shortened it up for you.
What the hell? DRS is 3 adults in a dinosaur costume.
It kind of is, really. Kind of is.
But what dinosaur? That's the real question. What dinosaur is it?
Can you move the bottom image all the way to one side so I've got somewhere better to drop my chat window when in full screen? You know, you fucking people, you just want us to be able to do everything.
Yeah, I think he's just trolling us now. He's just trolling us now.
There. How's that? There. Is that better?
No, because you're making the one smaller.
Oh my gosh.
Are we back to this again? Picture in picture? What the hell? We'll figure this out one of these days. All right, I like this one.
Well, of course you do. I think this one works just fine.
Yeah, because this allows everybody to see cats, which is why anybody comes to listen to this show anyway.
It's the internet. It's made for cats.
Oh my God, isn't it?
Yeah.
I posted a cat picture of Shadow doing something really silly, and somebody sent me this infographic with why I'm an evil person for having not adopted a human being, but for adopting a cat, and that I was worshiping cat idols and all this other bullshit. And I looked at it and I went, block. It's like, what?
You know, if you're going to go for idolatry, you know, cats are all right for that sort of thing, I suppose.
I just was like, where do you get off?
I just get the random like Instagram spamming of, hey, you should be helping us promote, you know, our new, you know, pet fashion line and all this. I'm like, then I get the same junk accounts say, you should help promote our makeup line or our fashion line. I'm like, okay. No, because I have hoodies and t-shirts and jeans, and that's about it. So whatever fashion you think I'm sporting, no. Whatever makeup, yeah, no.
Matt says he had to build a presentation once, leaving the bottom right corner empty so I could green screen myself in there. Those were the days. Glory to Bast. What is Bast?
The Egyptian cat goddess.
Oh.
Uncultured swine. How dare you? I'm sorry. You're the thought I know that.
Where's the block button? We're going to block Paul from this show right now.
Actually, one of the romance things here I narrated, Bast was in there, and she did have a herd of cats, a pounce of cats.
A pounce of cats.
Yeah, they were evil. It was great.
All right. Oh, that's right. I posted a picture of Shadow laying on the Mac Mini with his paws up in the air and everything, and I said Satan in one of his many guises. Ancient Egypt is in my wheelhouse, but I'm not necessarily up on all the gods.
Bast is a pretty big one.
Banish mummies back to the underworld.
Wasn't Bast the god who could banish mummies back to the underworld? Not a clue. Because I spent more time on Mesopotamia. There's only one story that I've written that takes place in Egypt, and that was with a Jew. So yeah, a lot of the Egyptian religion wasn't there because it wasn't important. It didn't matter at all. Everybody there was Greek or Jewish. They don't give a fuck about Egyptian mythology. So I didn't do anything with that. That's why I didn't do that. There are a lot of them, man, that too. Your favorite is Sobek, the crocodile god of the Nile. See, how do people know this shit? Y'all are playing video games and RPGs, aren't you? That's what this shit is.
I'm narrating romance.
Oh.
'Cause I had a whole 3-book series where it was vampires, but with like the Egyptian mythos in it. And Sobek was in there, and Anubis was in there, and Bast was in there, and yeah, a bunch of them. It was great.
This isn't role-playing related, or it isn't writing related, but it's role-playing related since we just mentioned.
Yes, I know Osiris.
That. The Wizards of the Coast is coming out with a new version of D&D called 1D&D or something along those lines. And they've decided to issue a new open gaming license, which the previous one has been out there for 23 years and allowed folks to use the 5e system to build all kinds of things. Pathfinder, for example, is based on that license. But now they want everybody to pay them money, so they are going to go ahead and declare that the previous perpetual open gaming license is no longer approved. And that's what it looks like. It's tearing the role-playing game community completely and utterly apart.
Curious. What does that do for people who have like written additional player guides for 5th edition? Like if you've done, do they have to be unpublished?
I'm thinking the way that Wizards of the Coast would phrase it is that they then have to report what they're earning to Wizards of the Coast, and if they make above a certain amount, they've got to pay them. I believe that's what they're... See, they haven't actually released the open gaming license. Someone leaked it.
Ah, okay.
And so now the universe is exploding, and we don't know what the official word is going to be. Maybe they'll back down on some parts of this. The way they're trying to put it is that the language in the original gaming license is that it's perpetual, but it's for approved. I think it was approved is the right word. Maybe it's something along those lines. And for payment, yes, $750,000 in revenue is a thing there. But then they're going to want 20 to 25% of what you make above that. So it's a pretty significant chunk. What was I saying before I got sidetracked? Oh, they're saying because the previous license had the word approved gaming license that they are now unapproving it or unauthorizing it or something like that. Some lawyerly stuff. And I'm pretty sure that when it's actually brought to court, because some people are going to sue them for this.
Oh, yeah.
That injunctions will be issued, and when it makes its way through the court, they're going to lose, and they are going to self-destruct their business. And all of this came around because Hasbro, the people that own Wizards of the Coast, a couple of months ago, in a board meeting, declared that Dungeons & Dragons was under-monetized.
Yeah, best way to kill your
I forgot to mention, they said anything published under the new license, they have the right to use it and don't have to pay you a thing. They make a great race. Oh, we made this race for this thing. Oh, we're going to use this race on ours and you can't do anything about it. Na.
Yep, that's when you say, so long and thanks for all the fucking fish. We're going to rip off all your rules and start something open. For real. Oops. Tim says, I've seen a fair number of folks talking about the OGL, but it seems according to a fair number of folk that the OGL was never necessary for third parties to make new games.
This is true. However, say let's take Pathfinder, for example. That's the biggest one that's a competitor of D&D. They created the original Pathfinder First Edition using the original gaming license that Wizards of the Coast put out. So an argument might be legally made that everything that is derivative of that is, in fact, something that would be covered.
And that's why you can't do that. That's why the court's going to go, no.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
Wizards of the Coast are just, they're imploding.
They're just trying to steal the worst games company from Games Workshop. Ow.
You know, the sad thing about Games Workshop, or was it game? No, it was TSR, I think it was. Somebody got the license to use the TSR name and logo, and we're gonna publish a new game of Top Secret. I know some of the people that were behind it. And then somebody else that was associated with the original TSR said something truly heinous and despicable, and they had to end up not using it because somebody else had ruined it for them because of their mouths. I think it was one of the Gygax sons.
Yeah, it was. It was. He's a tool. He's one of those people who should just keep their mouth shut.
Tim says he still plays Warhammer, so he's double sad there. I don't know. I've played Warhammer. It's a little dark and grim for my taste.
The video games that have been coming out for Warhammer are interesting. I don't know anything really about the world. I'm not one of those folks who's dived into it. It's curious, but wow, is it fascist? Holy shit. It is religious fascist. It's nuts.
The setting is very much so.
It's completely shitbat bonkers from word one, because I looked at it and was like, whoa, okay, this is kind of fucked up. And it just kept getting more and more fucked up. And I went, wow, I don't know. This is a world I want to stick around in. There are no good people in this world.
See, I have not played in any of it. I think I've done one. I know I did one kind of extended campaign Pathfinder game. And I did a D&D one-shot, and that was an interesting experience. But I haven't... I've been invited to play in a campaign that's actually going to be run by a bunch of narrators. But the only Wizards of the Coast property that I've played consistently is Magic the Gathering. And they're...
Nerd!
Hey, collecting those cards
Nerd!
and selling stuff paid for that booth. So,
Nerd.
Yes.
I have several packs here.
Yeah, there are boxes and collector cards, and it's a sad thing.
It's like Beanie Babies.
Oh, this is a good one.
Maybe.
Chuck says there is regarding Warhammer, there is no hope in the future. There is only war. Yeah, even as pessimistic as my futures can be, that's a little much. That's a little much for my taste. Aren't we all nerds here? Yes, we all are nerds here. Nerds unite. Oh my fucking god. Mutate. Okay, you are nerds squared. Tim says, personally, wow. I never leave home without my Shore Shark mutate. I don't even know what that is. Shore Shark mutate deck in case the game breaks out.
That sounds like is that a blue-green or a blue-black deck?
Yeah, it sounds like green-black.
No, if it's a Shore thing, there's blue in it.
Oh, well, yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, but a lot of those green cards are also water-based because of swamp. Or is that
no,
black?
swamps are black mana. Forest is green mana. I'm thinking black. Yeah, no, I used to play when I
blue, black, green. Yeah.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I used to play a blue-white deck, and it was pretty much it was a frustrate the other player deck and make them run out of cards. And
you're one of those evil people. Just keep healing. Just keep healing. Just keep fucking around the other person's cards.
No, it was making the other person just bleed cards and get them to the bottom of their deck faster than I did. Whereas, and what else? I think my oldest was great at building decks, though. Like he'd have a spreadsheet, and he'd know exactly like how many turns you had to do in order to win. And he played Commander. He played Modern. We used to go to draft nights at our local Magic shop. It's expensive after a while.
Yeah, it gets expensive fast.
Would be like you'd have to show up at 6 or 7, and then you'd be there until midnight. And like, yeah, I can't do that anymore.
But it's you can only chitlins at the house.
We used to bring them with us, but
yeah,
I'm serious.
It just goes to prove that nobody is safe from a corporation trying to monetize their favorite thing out of existence because they have no idea how fandom works.
Yep.
Right, and that's another issue with the media monopoly that's been going on and what they've been everybody purchasing. They don't even know what they bought. They don't understand the culture. They don't understand what they've actually purchased. And they do not understand all the headaches that come with owning a fandom. Oh my God, because every step you make, you're going to piss off some cadre of fanboy little cunts who are just going to be a vocal bashing crowd for whatever fucking reason. And you got to deal with that every single time. Why would you want that shit?
Again, they think it's easy money.
I mean, I'm the creator or something like of Soul and Beyond. It's my play box, and people trust me to fuck around in it. What would a corporation do with it? Probably something completely different than I have intended.
Mm-hmm.
So it just sits there and it makes you wonder exactly what the point is of them buying any IP other than to reskin it with whatever bullshit they want to reskin it with.
I know one of the things that they're looking at doing with this new open gaming license is they're saying it only applies to printed materials and PDFs, because they bought one of the virtual tabletops. I think it was Roll20. And so they're going to try to monopolize all the virtual playing and monetize stuff inside of it as well. They are really working to offend.
Yeah, and then Adobe finally announced that they have been stealing everybody's images and using them for AI for years.
Shocking.
And that if you use any of their cloud products, you're giving them the rights to use that in their model, and you're giving them express permission to do so.
Shocking.
Huh?
Shocking.
Shocking, right? Yeah. So yeah, things are getting really good. Us creators, we're in the most powerful spot we've ever been in. Seeing Dave Robison's eyes glaze over as I described that deck to him on game night, and he played MTG back in the day.
Now, one of the things that Tim says here is too bad the only thing you need to play in RPG is Discord. If you're going to use a map and have any automation to it at all, I would say that probably Discord is not going to be sufficient for your needs. Having seen some of the thing that the various virtual tabletops you do with moving your own tokens around and do things, if you're just going to use voice and just see your other players, you're absolutely right. If you're just going to share a static map, absolutely. Once you start moving things around, I'm not sure that Discord is the right thing for you. This is from a guy that I haven't played in years, but I got invited back into a virtual game a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, and started playing every week since then. So I've seen a little bit more recently. It's a new experience. I'm enjoying it.
Matt says it came across a similar thing when teaching dance. Eventually went back to teaching beginners only because they wanted everything. Established dancers only want this, none of that, and different for everyone. Huh. Interesting. I can see that. It's also like, if I were a college professor, I think I would actually want to work mostly with freshmen and sophomores. Because the most interesting thing about talking to other writers is learning from them by guiding them to be where they need to go. In other words, it's about setting up the foundation. It's about, correcting little nuances, helping them build in, the exact kind of writer they want to be and help them with their style. But it's also teaching them about story. And I love talking about story, in case you hadn't noticed. So story would be primarily how I would teach writing, is by teaching story. Because the language is, yes, it's extremely important, obviously. But there are other courses that deal with a lot of that. I would rather focus on the nuts and bolts of story and things like that, and then how you can play with language. I would much rather do that I would much rather work with folks that haven't established themselves yet, because it would just be more fun for me. And I think I do a pretty good job with those folks as it is, and did in college, and, obviously enjoyed doing the show. So it's kind of fun, something I enjoy. If I was going to entertain regrets, that would be one regret I have, is I never went to teaching professionally. But whatever. We're here where we are now. Tim says he guesses his setup includes a document camera hooked up to the computer so he can display a map to the players.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You having your voice over Discord and having something that can display a map, it's absolutely functional. When using something like, say, Roll20, for example, though, it allows the GM to go ahead and have an initiative set up where everybody rolls their own initiative, and he just sorts it into array. You can target whatever monster you're going to fight. The monsters can target you, and it allows some automation of the process that you don't get. But you're absolutely right. If you're looking just for the basic old school role-playing experience, that setup is perfectly cool.
It's interesting how all of it's evolved. I haven't been in the scene in a long time, literally 30 something years. So I'm kind of out on the, what's going on with it and how it's evolved and everything else. But I have looked at some of the RPG map software and things like that, because I had the very thought. I really entertained and still am entertained the idea of making Derelict itself, or Mira itself, a module for some game system. And, I have had discussions with someone about that. But it is the new tools make a lot of really crazy shit possible. They really do. And a level of immersion that we didn't really have back when we were kids. But then again, we had, I think, more vivid imaginations. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I'm looking snarky. It's because I'm just remembering what a bunch of 12-year-olds were babbling about and imagining the world to look like and how it functioned and everything else when we barely understood how this world worked. That's just me smiling about that.
Tim says, to be clear, he's played a few games in Roll20, but thought it was too much to learn. He doesn't run games in 5e. He likes things like Fate Core, Electric Bastion Land that are map light. The game I'm playing in, that I'm not running, by the way, is pretty map heavy. So there's a little bit of things that take place without it, but for combat and movement, it's definitely very map heavy.
Oh, back to the other thing. Sue says teaching beginners in any field is about setting up the foundation and exposing them to all the options. Right.
Yep.
And I think that's what I enjoy the most about teaching or mentoring in any capacity, is blowing away the obstacles that we put in front of ourselves, which is really ironic since I'm barely able to do it for myself.
He's saying one of the things he said was that Roll20 was too much to learn. I've never tried to do anything other than player in it, but I also have a license for the Foundry VTT, and it is way more to learn. I still haven't learned how to do anything in it.
And what is that one?
Foundry?
Oh,
it's a virtual tabletop for role playing.
That's the one where you can design the maps. You can actually walk through them and all that shit.
You can add walls to your maps so that you have cones of what people can see and what they can't see, and the map reveals itself. Way more things than I know.
Fog of War,
Fog of War, exactly.
9 yards. Yeah,
exactly.
It's crazy.
Spells that have visible effects that you fire it off and it shows something heading toward the target and then blowing up, and all kinds of other effects that I have not even begun to explore.
What's really shocking to me is that kind of stuff has not resulted into movies yet. Excuse me.
What do you mean it hasn't resulted into movies?
Well,
Gygax and etc. wrote the original modules, and even D&D based on the rules they came up with and everything else. As I understand it, a lot of the modules they put out there were things that they ran themselves and kind of wrote up after the fact.
Some cases, yeah.
And what I'm just looking at that moment where one of these indie projects gains enough steam, so to speak, to end up becoming a phenomenon. And then it's like, okay, what happens when you're talking about, folks who never plan to turn this into a business suddenly have all this IP? Who's going to come knocking, and what are they going to want to do with it?
Who says they haven't come knocking?
That's the other question.
I mean, they may have optioned it and they're just sitting on it.
That is absolutely true. We have no idea what's going on as far as that goes.
There's a D&D movie coming out this year, right?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm sure
What
it'll
do you
be
say?
just
Unfortunately, actually, I like the looks of it. I think Chris Pine is going to make a fabulous bard.
Oh God.
He is a bard.
Yeah, pretty
What he can
much.
say? Yeah, and but then he was in Into the Woods. He can sing.
Garbage, garbage, garbage. Just crap, garbage, awful noise. Yeah. Not for anybody intelligent. Horrible stuff.
What are you chortling about?
Oh, the look I just got.
Oh, she's behind the camera halfway, so I was looking at something else and I couldn't see her face.
I touched the nerve somehow. I might be in trouble. I might be in lots of
So
trouble.
if we want to get some looks from her, maybe we should ask her what she thinks about Henry Cavill being replaced by Liam Hemsworth as Geralt of Rivia. No care at all.
As long as the story gets told properly, I don't care. I mean, they replaced one of the mains in Vikings. What, 2? Was it Vikings or was it Last Kingdom? No, it was another period thing. They replaced somebody early on in some series, and after the second or third episode of the next season, I didn't care because everyone else was there. The story was being told.
The part of such and such will now be played by such and such.
I just know from like a narrating perspective, it is very hard to come into a sequel and not get a bunch of hate because you're not the person that they expect.
They did that in the They did that a lot in the old soap operas that my mom used to watch, and that's where that comment. That's the comment. If you weren't actually watching when they said such and such was being played by such and such, if you missed that 5 seconds,
you're like,
who the hell is this person? What are they? Who are they? And it takes you a while to figure out who they're supposed to be.
That was back when they did the live shows.
Yeah, I took over I took over the 8th book in a series, and not only was I the new narrator, I was also going from a male narrator to a female narrator. And for a genre that is pitched to guys, they did not like me.
Well, let me give you an example that goes the other way. I forget which series it is. It was one of Lit RPG series. And the first 2 books were done by one narrator. And then they brought on Luke Daniels. And that 3rd book where he came in, it was so hard for me to listen to it. Even though I enjoy his narration style, that book was a loss for me, and I had to force myself to go on to the next one because the change was just so drastic. I finally adjusted. Book 4, I'm adjusted, but it was harsh.
Yeah, you get used to certain styles, or you get used to certain expectations. You have certain expectations about a story and the characters and all that. And sometimes you can't help it. Because of who you are as an actor, you can't be everybody's perfect fit. You can't be everyone to everybody.
It's like switching audiobook narrators like you're talking about, Terry. It's like you get used to a certain cadence in the phrasing. You get used to how to know that the suspense is coming and that the accents are for this character. Somebody comes along, you're not and replaces that. You're not getting the backstory of the characters by that point. So you're jumping in with all new people by the sounds of it, because it takes a while to get used to it. And
Luke Daniels is a premier narrator, so he didn't do a bad job with it. It was just hard to adjust from one book to the other with all of the characters changing in the way that they sounded. It was rough.
Right. And that was like in The Strain. The first book was narrated by Ron Perlman. The second book and the third book are by Daniel Oreskes. And they're very different voices and very different styles. And it was extremely jarring because I was mainlining them. So I went immediately from that to the second one. Was like hitting a wall with my head. It hurt. But then I got used to it and it was okay. I think Daniel Oreskes is a fine narrator and I'd hire him anytime. So, oh, speaking of, I got an email from Joe Hempel.
Oh, okay.
It said, "Hey, Paul, I was finishing up Arrival and came across About the Author and saw that you lived in Houston. Are you still there? Because I live in such and such neighborhood." And I said,
Step out your front door and see if you can see me waving.
yeah, he lives up here in the Woodlands.
Really? He's a good guy. I would, if you guys want to get together for a beer, I would.
Oh yeah,
strongly-
he hit me up. He's like,
Heck
after
yeah.
the holiday madness and we both, get a couple things done. Let's meet up for a beer. I was like, fuck yeah, let's
Absolutely.
do it. It was just one of those weird, world is so goddamn small kind of things. So it was just funny. I just thought I
That's
thought
really
you'd
cool.
enjoy hearing that. Yeah, it was amusing. It was good. Oh, one other thing I guess I did, I had to put sticks in the sand for the Arrival release and Outbreak release. So they're both up for pre-order
Oh.
with no covers, but they have descriptions. So I have put the stick in the sand and said shall be by this date, and I hope for fucking Christ we meet it.
It'll be fine.
What could possibly go wrong?
Everything, and you know it.
It's not like we're in hurricane season anymore.
Jesus Christ. No, we're in freeze season. It's so much better. Yeah.
Well,
pretty
folks,
much.
we're over an hour in the post show. We probably should be looking for an exit point.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's like food coming or something. I've been told
Yeah,
there's food on the way.
there's like messages saying you're wrapping up, right? You're wrapping up, right?
Well, thank you, V, for proving that it's not just us that can't keep our mouths shut. You aided and abetted in this mess.
Me? I listened politely and just added in one or two things to keep the conversation going. Maybe,
Mhm.
sort of, kind of.
Yeah, hopefully next time you'll wield more of the stick, because Terry needs beatings.
Oh, I'm not sure that
I
that's
should
probably
not
a
have said that.
phrasings.
Oh,
That's
that would-
probably
that-
a
that should
phrasing
have
thing.
gotten- I was thinking Teddy Roosevelt. That sounded pornish. I'm
Ish?
sorry.
Ish with I can't even phrase it.
Please, ma'am, may I have another?
Oh, thank fucking Christ. I don't have to do another outro. Patrons, subscribers,
Oh,
thank you very
my
much for
goodness.
hanging out with us. I am now going to click the end broadcast and I can't wait to see what V says to me when we're off camera. So with that, we hope you enjoyed. Thanks for hanging with us and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for